Hey there, relationship visionaries. This is Chris Stone of Conscious Cock, and we're here in week 3 of the boot camp where we're learning about anatomy and arousal. And today we're going to be learning about women's nipples, what they do, and how to use them. You know, guys often don't know what to do with them, and they end up being clumsy or ineffective or avoiding them entirely because they aren't sure how to handle them. But let's solve that mystery once and for all and empower you to understand them and unlock their sex superpowers. Nipples and breasts are powerful erogenous zones for women, but you have to know how to touch them right. Touch that's too fast or too rough or too intense or too anything can be annoying or even painful. And the key here is to understand subtlety and intensity. But first, let's talk about anatomy and the neural mechanics of the nipples and the breasts. Scientific research at Rutgers that was published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine a few years back revealed that the nipples stimulate the same sensory areas of the brain as the clitoris, cervix, and the vagina. Nipple play, it also releases the exact same hormone that clitoral play releases, oxytocin. And if you don't know how wonderful oxytocin is, well, let me tell you, it assists sexual arousal, triggers uterine contractions, decreases anxiety and depression, and increases bonding and trust. You know, all that from nipple play. Why wouldn't you want to master the art? The basic method of playing with a woman's nipples that I recommend is to start slow and light and tease with occasional touch, with spacing in between. An occasional light squeeze quickly followed by a slight flicking off of the nipple to let it go causes a shock wave of sensation to ripple throughout her body. So clearly this is something that you have to be careful with and don't do too much at the beginning. But these shock waves, they wake up the same parts of the brain that her clit and her cervix and her vagina stimulate. And they release that delicious oxytocin so you can get her whole body and mind heated up without even going below the belt. It's a serious tool to help warm her up. As she warms up more and more, your nipple touch can probably get more frequent with heavier pressure. But don't rush it. It's totally true that she might be so warmed up and hot that she's frantically riding the hell out of you, and then she can handle you squeezing and flicking them hard and even constantly. But you know, the opposite technique of teasing them only a little bit, occasionally with long breaks of time in between them, may provide more intense shock waves for her. If you can't tell what she likes and what she doesn't like by reading her body language, then you have to ask her what type of touch she likes and doesn't like. Right now, this moment. It can change in a minute, so don't assume it'll be guaranteed to work next time. With attention and dedication, you might be able to determine over time that she has a general nipple stimulation pattern, but any single moment or sexual encounter might be different, so there's no guarantees. You know, for example, you might learn that during initial contact, before any arousal has yet taken place, that she doesn't like having her nipples touched at all. But maybe she likes long, slow, wispy tracing strokes of your fingers on her breast or around her nipple with only a slight, single, quick, light flick over her nipple. And that when she's a bit further along in early arousal, she likes you to squeeze them gently for a second and then release gently with a little flick. And then later, when she's completely a sexual monster, that she wants you to have your hands on both nipples with a deep squeeze and a regular flick, like maybe like this, you know, that maybe even triggers her to have orgasm while grinding on you. You know, you might find that she has a pattern like that, but the key is not to get so carried away that you lose your sensitivity to her signals, the sounds she makes, the way she opens or closes her body to you, like this would be shrinking away. You know, this would be opening up. Don't get carried away and become a vice grip on her nipple. She won't appreciate that, and your lack of sensitivity will not engender her to trust you with her sensitive nipples. It's an amazing sex power when you master the art of playing with her nipples. Many women have found that when they're in a high state of arousal, like for example after they've already had a few orgasms, properly timed and executed nipple play can trigger another orgasm for her because nerves from the nipples can trigger uterine contractions. What an amazing, magical, sexual superpower to explore! But remember, every woman is different, and every woman herself is different at any moment during the day or depending on the factors going on in her life or her heart or her brain, so you have to communicate with her. Read her subtle cues and ask her directly with your words when you aren't sure or aren't getting clear or congruent body language cues from her. Track her well, and she'll love you for the dedication you give her. And she'll respond by being more trusting and more willing to open up and be your sexual playfest partner and goddess. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Please leave me a comment and let me know if you find this useful, or share it with a friend that could benefit from it. And if you want to subscribe to get my tips automatically, then you can subscribe to me on Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or by email at consciouscock.com. Okay, until next time, keep doing your kegels every day, and take your life and have sex with it. Get pleasure from being alive and doing the things that you want to do. Hasta mañana.